like Mercy introduced us, I'm Greta. I was born in Budapest, Hungary, and sports been always be like a major part of my life. Ever since I was young, my parents kind of forced me to do sports, so I did try out a lot of different sports before I ended up doing track and field. I did swimming, basketball, and also like some variation of dance. But by I was like 10 or 11, I did find track and field and slowly um, developed a passion for it. And also within track and field, there's a lot of different events. So later on, I did find long jump and also triple jump as my main event, and I was best at it. And that's what helped me pursue my track and field career at the United States.
Stefan Capetti. I was born in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I've been playing soccer since the age of 3 years old. Kind of got a love for the game from my grandfather, my dad, and my older brother, who were all former soccer players. My dad actually graduated from the University of Maryland also. He was a soccer player there. So just my whole upbringing was a lot of soccer. Played hockey for a few years because that's just a thing you do in Canada. Everybody plays hockey. Um, but I didn't really like it. I always had a passion for soccer, and that's kind of what kept me going on the path with soccer. And didn't look back and kept going, and brought me to the University of Maryland, where I got my degree and also got to play 2 years because I transferred to Maryland from another school in New York. Um, but yeah, I was super happy to be able to kind of follow in my dad's footsteps and also graduate from the University of Maryland.
I'm Kevin Kalonji, and uh, actually, just like Stefan, uh, I used to play soccer before. I grew up playing soccer basically my entire life. I grew up in a family where like sport, it's the big thing because my dad is a martial artist, and um, and he used to be like he had like a basketball team. He was like president of a basketball team. So my entire life was just around sport. And the way I kind of find football was weird because I came in the state to play soccer. I was a little skinny dude, um, and I came here to play soccer, and then I met some friends here who played American football, and I wanted to try, and I ended up being pretty good at it. And here I am today at the University of Maryland, playing American football.
So, I always wanted to study abroad for, I know, for like college. I didn't want to like stay in my country, but Europe was kind of like out of the way. There wasn't a lot of easy ways I could continue doing sports because it's not valued as much as in the US. So, an agency helped me reaching out to different coaches, and just for fun, we tried a Division One, and I actually heard back from one of the coaches from University of Idaho, and it aligned well with my major at that time, and also the contract they offered. So it kind of all just like worked out perfectly. So I ended up going there because of the program and the academic background as well.
In my hand, I'll say it was probably just like the language barrier because I'm from the Congo, and in the Congo we speak French. Like everyone was just speaking too fast. Sometimes it was kind of really hard for me to understand what people were saying. And but with like the friends that I had around, it was just like they were just like so amazing, and they helped me a lot with like pronunciation, with like how to be more confident, and it's just
Yeah, I mean, for me being Canadian, I feel like it wasn't too difficult of a process. A lot of my, coaches and academic advisors kind of helped me through that whole process and how to do it. I found a little bit more difficulty transferring from my smaller liberal arts school to then a massive public school in the University of Maryland. So I lost a ton of credits, and also had to switch my visa and do all that stuff. So that was a little bit of a nerve-wracking and stressful process, but it ended up getting all done. Um, and yeah, I was lucky enough at both of my schools that I went to know someone who was there, who was a little bit older, who kind of took me under their wing and showed me around everything and got me comfortable. So for me, it was a pretty smooth process overall.
For me, The first year was very difficult. The visa process already I had to like start everything and applications to the college. They made me do the SAT exams and language proficiency exams. Right. Besides, I also had my own high school exit exam, so I was already struggling. And like Kevin mentioned, the language is also. I mean, I learned English in high school, but actually being in a English speaking country, that was totally different, and also different accents too. So I did also struggle with that. But I was lucky that I had another friend who was also from Europe. She was in Germany, that we could kind of get through the cultural differences together. Later on, we ended up having more Europeans on the team, and we had like other internationals, but enough from the same area. But I did really struggle with some cultural differences and the food. As Kevin mentioned, the dorm food, I could not do that. It was really hard. But I feel like by now, after like 6 years, it got
Mm.
better. But okay.
Um, Being on a soccer team, I mean, soccer is a international sport. Like it's played by everyone, every nation across the world. So, obviously being in the Big Ten and being in a very competitive conference, my coach looks all around for players and the top talent. So we had a friend from Norway who's one of my best friends that I got to meet there, and I still keep in touch with him. He's still there right now, but now that I'm home and graduated, I'm still texting him weekly how things are going and stuff like that. I did have a friend who I spoke about earlier who is also from Canada. I played with him on the same club team here in Canada. So he was kind of that connection I made when I first got to Maryland. He was the guy I was always kind of talking to and around, just questions like, hey, where's this place? Hey, where's this spot? And he would tell me. But yeah, I think there was my first year there, there was at least 8 or 9 international students that were on the team, and my last year there, there was another like 7, 8. So, um, and that's for every team. It's not just Maryland. A lot of Division 1 programs for soccer have a ton of international students. So, I was glad that I was able to make that connection with a bunch of my teammates.
Yes, so I feel like my year was the first big wave, and my coach decided to like recruit a lot of internationals. Um, with us, they came on like four, but after that, like more and more. I like to think that we influenced him because we're so so good. But the initial four that we came, that was my German roommate who I like stayed with the whole 4 year, and we also still keep in touch and visit each other's countries as well. We also had an Australian and a Canadian. So at first was like really tight because we also had to go through all the international orientations, and we were like kind of in the same booth. So when anything came up, at least we could like always talk it through, and the other could probably relate or like help you out, which was really nice. Like, I was like, okay, I wasn't alone in this situation. And then as more and more internationals also came, it was nice. And then I also got to like kind of help the younger ones out. Some of them like who feel like homesick or other like visa or tax or a lot of other issues that you don't realize you have to deal with once you're here. But definitely it helped to have that international community, and also on other sports teams too, especially our tennis team had also a lot of Europeans too, which also was really nice that slowly you had this nice mix of everyone with different backgrounds, and also you got to kind of go around and also visit them and make friends with. So that was also, it's a nice outcome too.
And
Okay.
it's kind of like fun to have like people from like different countries because there's we have guys who were born in Nigeria, Ghana, and like Alan who just got here. He's from Jamaica, and it's just like it's just like amazing because they don't know what's going on here, so you just gotta you feel kind of like the big bro, like kind of like tell them like, hey, like you can do this, you can do that, you know. And I think it's really cool to like be there to like help them and yeah.
Going into my first year at Maryland, I kind of leaned a lot on our captains. They were all in their last year, so they had been there for 3 years previous and going into their fourth year. So they kind of knew everything there was to know about Maryland. And two of them were actually Maryland natives as well. so they knew everything about the campus. They went to Maryland soccer games as kids growing up. So um, definitely leaning on our leadership group, not only our captains, but we had a whole leadership group of, 7, 8 guys of all upperclassmen that we would have, weekly meetings with our coaches of things we needed to change within the team or just the whole group dynamic in general. Um, Definitely leaning on the older guys and guys who have been there a while helped me a bunch.
Thinking about other accomplishments that you've achieved over the course of your academic and collegiate,
Oh,
is there any athletic accomplishments that you guys are really proud of? It can be anywhere from when you were younger all the way through your collegiate experience. So Kevin, do you want to start us off and then we can
oh yeah,
step in?
yeah. I mean, more when I was younger, because well, um, in my family, I'm the youngest. We got a black belt at 12 years old. I'm a judo black belt, and I got my black belt when I was 12 years old. And I was really proud of myself because it was never done before, that I know. And and um, when I was playing soccer, like we won the Central. It was like a Central Africa tournament, and then we won that tournament, which was like um really great, and I really loved it. And uh the list is long. I like for judo I was well um I got a gold medal like in judo as a junior, and it was really great. And yeah, the list is really long, so those are just like the main ones.
I would say one of my biggest identities I'm most proud of is I won the Hungarian national championships in triple jump when I think I was 18 by then. That was the thing that kind of um, pushed me to getting into University of Idaho, the one of the mark that the coach was like, okay, we need you. Um, which one that point it was like really great to win, and that
Mm.
was like my personal best, and it's just like a really nice feeling, but also that was the thing that helped me to be where I am right now and continue doing track and field also on a Division 1 level. And also back home, I did get to participate in some really cool events. But even I didn't have like as huge achievements as Kevin, which is really congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
Getting to go to competitions around the US and getting also, no, I remember there was one really cool event. I didn't perform too good, but just the feeling that I don't know if you guys are familiar with the track and field at University of Oregon, the in Eugene. So the first ever meet that was held there, we got to participate in there, which I think was really cool. And to this day, every time they show that stadium, I always will brag to my friends, even though they don't really care because it's kind of a track nerdiness. But that was also really cool to be in this amazing facilities where all these like superstar athletes participate, but also seeing other cool students doing like amazing jobs was also really cool. We had some good athletes who made it to like nationals and stuff. So
And then yeah, for me, starting with my kind of younger days. I was selected for our provincial team, which is the best 22 players in the province of Ontario. So I got to represent our province. We got to play 3 games against Quebec. We won 2 and tied 1, so it was successful little weekend for me. And then the following year, I got called into a Canada national team camp, um, where then they took the best, I think, 5, 10 players from that. Unfortunately, I wasn't selected, but it was just a great experience to be able to kind of represent my country. Um, and then going into the college setting, at my first school, we were in the MAC conference, so it was a smaller conference, but had a tremendous amount of success my junior year, so the year before I transferred, we won the regular season and won our conference tournament for the first time in 20 years. So that was a huge accomplishment. And then I was awarded with the first team all conference and then third team all region. So that was super happy about that. A bunch of our players won some awards. And then going into Maryland, my first year there, we won the Big Ten regular season. So that was a massive accomplishment. I think that was the first time in 5 or 10 years that we won the regular season. So that was it was cool to get a ring and celebrate with all the guys there. So yeah.
Nice. And then your impact, on the field too. But so can you talk a little bit about off the field? I don't know if you guys personally or as a team, did you complete any type of volunteering or community service, whether here in the United States or overseas? So now who wants to
Uh,
jump in?
uh, so personally, I go to like homeless shelter. Sometimes I've just like volunteered, like around like the DC area. I'll just go in and just help out, like giving out food, uh, to like homeless like people and just like exchange with them, like just trying to like talk to them because uh I don't think we use the term homeless anymore. I think Kitten is gonna be mad at me. Unhoused people. Um and I just go there and then I just like help out because I think even like those people they still need like help and they're still people. So I just go in and just volunteer. Yeah.
Growing up, I would always do the Habitat for Humanity with my dad through his work. So they'd build, you know, houses or little sheds for camps and things like that. So I'd always go and help with his work, building these structures for the less fortunate. And then going into Maryland as a team, we would do the Run for Equality. So we'd run a mile and get a bunch of donations from people, and that would obviously go to foundations who help fight for equality.
Um, for me, my team, and also just like the athletic department in general, we did help a lot of we had this events every year, like we hosted Halloween kind of stuff for like kids, and we did a lot of participation in the community as because it was a small college town. So it was just us students and then families or retired people. So a lot of events that like involved kids, we participated in like runs or just going to like farmers market and doing other stuff. We also did some food drive when a lot of people donated food through the university. And then we also went around neighborhoods and asked for people to donations, any like cans or something. And part of my one of my courses too, I also went volunteering at like a plant kind of stuff, like helped with gardening and just some environmental kind of helping. But it was more of like this type of community work that I think to this day they also still do. And the kids loved it always, especially the Halloween ones, because we had a big facility and you could go and like have stands everywhere. So, and you would also have to dress up, obviously.
Can you highlight kind of your future goals and plans? Greta, why don't you go first, followed by Stefan and then Kevin.
So, I'm currently looking into going to PhD programs. Most likely gonna do that back in Europe. I want to do more like research, specifically focusing on like human remains, and there's a potential I can study people from my home, which would be great, but through more of like a Western institute, which would be really nice. So yeah, I'm currently at the application reaching out process, and also working in an ancient DNA lab with George Mason University. So I'm just gonna keep doing my research, and then these are the short-term plans. Long-term, I don't know, I may end up being a professor, but I definitely want to do just research a little bit.
Yeah, for me, my goal has always been to play professional. I'm battling a little bit of an injury right now, so once I get healthy, planning on going to on some trials in the States. Um, so I'm hoping to continue that, and then whenever my playing career is done, I do want to go back to school and go to graduate school and potentially become a graduate assistant coach to kind of get my coaching experience because I do want to get into coaching down the line as well and just pass on my knowledge to younger kids and younger players who kind of have the same aspirations as I did when I was their age. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what's been going through my head at this point.
Yeah, and just like Stefan, like my goal is to play professional, like to be a professional one day. So I'm working on that. It's going pretty good so far, and yeah, and um, after football, I don't know what I'm gonna do after football, but I want to be around sport. Like I need to do something that just like keep me around sport. I think the first thing that my parent introduced me to was sport, and I just feel like my entire life, all I did was around sport. And the day this thing's gonna stop, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I just want to be around sport, honestly.